Hi everyone, my name is Kim Wiggins and I developed the Just Right Student Self-Reflection Rubric and Check-In. This is a tool that will help you and your student identify whether the student's response or behavioral issue is linked to either a body signal, an emotion, or an environmental factor. And so really any adult that is helping the student get through these behavioral issues, this tool will be able to help them target those strategies and promote self-regulation and also track patterns to see if perhaps the patterns can help us figure out what we can do to further help them along. So I wanted to show you how to use the tool. So when you purchase this from the otkimwiggins.com website, you will receive a PDF document. The PDF document includes the first page, which gives you some background information about the tool, and the second page has the specific instructions that I'm going to show you here today. But at the top of it, you will see a link and you will click on that link. And when you click on it, it's going to ask you to make a copy. So that's what this looks like right here. So you would click on make a copy. This means that you now have a copy of this and you won't be editing the original document. So the first thing that you need to notice is that the first page, sheet 1, is called the Just Right rubric, and the second sheet is called Just Right Daily Check-In. So there's two parts to this tool. The first one is the rubric, and the rubric is really there to be able to help you and your student figure out what type of body signals, emotions, and environmental factors specifically that are individualized to your student for when they're feeling too slow, fast and hyper, or fast and stressed. So what you would do is you'd sit down with the student, and hopefully you've been using the Just Right sensory modulation curriculum for K through 5, and that will really help you get through this. But if you're not, you can still utilize this tool as well. And basically you would sit down with the student and you'd talk to them about what it feels like to feel too slow. So when you're feeling too slow, there are body signals, there are potential emotions, and there might be environmental factors that make you feel too slow. So you can just sit down and talk about that. So let's talk about what are some body signals. So some body signals that you might notice, and this is a list of different body signals. You might have them choose, okay, when I'm feeling tired, my muscles or when I'm feeling slow, my muscles might feel tired. So I'm going to choose that one. And perhaps I'm moving slowly, and perhaps I'm yawning, right? And sometimes the things on this list might not specifically apply to your student. So there will be a like a 3-dot option, and you can click that because you could write in your own, right? There could be other things that the student comes up with. There's so many different choices. So basically you would go ahead and you would choose all the different choices, and you can leave maybe 2 blank, or you can leave 3 blank. Then you would talk about what type of emotions make you feel too slow, or you might feel when you are feeling too slow. So you can go ahead and choose any of these emotions that are listed here. Maybe you're bored. When I'm bored, I'm feeling too slow. When I'm sad, I'm feeling too slow. When I am lonely or feeling left out, I feel slow. When I am worried, sometimes I feel too slow because that's what I'm thinking about. And then perhaps I might want to leave one that's blank and put 3 dots, or maybe I'll choose another one. Like maybe I'm just being shy, okay? Then let's talk about what kind of environmental factors might make me feel too slow. Things that are happening in my environment, things that are happening around me. Maybe the lighting is so dim that it makes me feel slow. Or maybe there's just some really boring stuff happening around me that makes me feel too slow. Or maybe I don't have any directions, so I'm just not going to do anything. Or maybe I'm just in a really negative mood, or I didn't eat. So you're going to choose the different ones that you and your student are talking about that indicate that they might feel too slow. And again, you can choose 3 dots and make it something that they can add in later. The Just Right column is here. There aren't any options for the Just Right column because if they're feeling just right, it means they're feeling awake, ready to learn, they're feeling calm and focused, and they're feeling comfortable. Okay, now the fast and hyper section is going to be this. You're going to do the exact same thing as you did for the too slow column, but you're going to talk about what it feels to feel fast and hyper. What are the body signals? So I'm just going to choose some here. You'll see that there's a variety of different options. And maybe my heart is beating fast, or maybe My hands are touching everything. That's how I notice when I'm feeling too fast and hyper. Maybe I'm just moving around a lot, right? And again, you can choose the three dots. Then, when I'm feeling fast and hyper, what are some emotions that I might be feeling? Maybe I'm feeling happy but wild and silly. Maybe I am really overwhelmed with like lots of fun energy. Or maybe I am getting distracted by easily by like fun things that are happening around me. Maybe I'm actually getting a little impatient because it's kind of hard to wait. And maybe I'm excited. Or, like I said, you can choose the three dots. Then the environmental factors. So what things are happening around me that are making me feel fast and hyper? Well, maybe there's lots of talking around in the classroom. Or perhaps maybe there's like a big group activity, like something that's happening in PE or an assembly. Or maybe I don't really know what the rules are, so I'm just going to run around, right? Or maybe the other kids around me are feeling silly or loud or moving around me. And maybe I just choose three dots because maybe I'm not always sure, so I can write it in later. So then you're going to do the same exact thing when you're feeling fast and stressed. So I'm just going to choose some random ones so I can show you what it looks like when we have it all at the end. But again, you're going to be going through this list with them, and you're going to feel, you're going to just jot them all down, whatever ones are individualized to your students' particular needs, right? And the same thing for environmental factors. Maybe there's too much clutter. Maybe you're feeling pressure around you to finish your work, or maybe the kids around you are being distracting, or perhaps the teacher's giving too many directions for you, or perhaps I feel left out or I don't feel like I belong, right? So now what you're going to do is you're going to use this as a reference because you have learned about the speeds, you have learned about the body signals and the emotions, and it's going to kind of be a reference tool for you. So what I would do here is I'd highlight the last box all the way up to the top A1 box. Then I would go to File and I would go to Print. Now that looks really bad, right? That's going to be really hard to see. Obviously, you don't want to do that. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on where it says Current Sheet, and you're going to only use the selected cells, the ones that you highlighted. Now that looks way better. I'm also going to change the margins to narrow, which makes it even bigger, okay? And if I want, I can also go to Formatting and take off the grid lines so I don't see all the little lines, okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and press Next, and that usually gets you to print it, right? So you can print it, you can laminate it. It's going to be used as a reference tool. That's the first part of this tool. Now, I'm going to cancel out of this because I'm not actually going to print it, and I'm going to show you what Sheet 2 does. Now, Sheet 2 is the daily check-in. So on the bottom, move my face over here. On the bottom, you're going to click on Just Write Daily Check-In. Now, the daily check-in is a way for you to monitor and to find out if there's any patterns. So basically, you're going to be writing the date or the time, or both, or maybe the subject, or whatever you need to put in this section right here when this behavioral incident occurs. Then the student, perhaps it's happening at the time or perhaps it's happening afterwards, they're going to self-reflect and they're going to think, okay, when that happened, was I feeling slow, just right, fast and hyper, or fast and stressed, right? So there's check boxes that are there for them. On the Google Sheet, you don't have to check anything. We're just creating this for them. The boxes are there for when you print it. Then the third column talks about the category. How did I know I was going that speed? So if I had chosen fast and hyper, how did I know that I was going fast and hyper? Was it that my body signals were telling me? Was it that I knew I had a feeling? Or was it because of something that was happening in my environment? So then on their paper, they would check that off. And the fourth column is what was the exact body signal, feeling, or environmental factor that caused my speed? This is where the initial rubric comes in handy because perhaps it was the feeling that told you that. So you can go back and refer back to your rubric and you can say, oh, yeah, it was probably, yeah, these are the things that I feel. I often feel overwhelmed with fun energy, or I feel quiet or shy or whatever it was, right? That was happening with your feeling. And that's just the reference page. So now you can actually write in this big box right here what the exact feeling was, the exact body signal, or the exact environmental factor. So hopefully just using these 4 columns, you'll be able to start seeing a pattern when these behaviors start to happen, because then we'll be able to choose the right types of strategies. I didn't want to just leave it at that and just be able to see the pattern. I also want to have something that they know that they can do to make it individualized with specific strategies. So before you print this out, what you would do is you would sit down with the student, knowing, especially with the Just Right curriculum, if you're feeling slow, what has to happen? If you're feeling slow, you have to try to figure out how to go a little faster. If you need to go faster, right? If you don't need to go faster, it's okay to go slow in certain situations. But if you're feeling slow and you need to go faster, what are some strategies that you like to do that help you go faster? So there's a list in each Dropbox under this category. And you can see here, there's a variety of different things. It's not the complete list of everything in the world. So that's why the 3 dots are still there. And you can choose, like, okay, when I'm feeling slow, I want to use a trampoline. When I'm feeling slow, I want to chew minty gum. When I'm feeling slow, I want to spin. And then what I might also do is kind of just leave the 4th option as 3 dots, because sometimes maybe I'll find something else that I could do that's not on this list. Or perhaps you choose all 4 things. This is something that you and your student hopefully will be collaborating on. If you're not able to collaborate with the student, this would be something you're collaborating on with whatever teacher or staff member is going to be around the student the most. And perhaps they know them really well and they'll be able to figure out what these strategies are. And then, they can circle the one that they actually end up wanting to use. Then under fast and hyper, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to choose, if you're feeling fast and hyper with the Just Right curriculum, you know that you need to choose strategies that are going to fill your tank. So what are strategies that are going to help you fill your tank? Maybe I need to be upside down. Maybe I need to do jumping jacks. Maybe I would like to listen to music. And maybe for the 4th one, I like to put 3 dots just so I can write it in, or I can choose something else. Or maybe I choose all 4 things, right? The same thing would happen with being fast and stressed. When you're feeling fast and stressed, you need to choose strategies that will help you slow down. So perhaps I need calming music. And maybe I want to have a chewy snack. And perhaps when I'm feeling fast and stressed, taking deep breaths will help me, or stretching, or coloring, or drawing, or an ear massage, right? So I'm going to pick one. And then for the 4th one, maybe I'll just pick a 4th one, because these are the things that really seem to help me. So now I have an entire row of a way that I can help find myself with a pattern, and I have specific strategies as well, okay? So basically this entire row needs to repeat, okay? Because every time you have the student has a behavioral issue, we want to have the same strategies available and everything should look the same. So what I would recommend doing is one of 2 things. One thing that you can do is, if you are uncomfortable with copying and pasting, you can go ahead and notice that you have chosen trampoline, chew minty gum, spinning, and dots. So you can just choose the same things in the same order, like that, right? And do it for this one and do it for this one. And you can do it all the way down and just keep clicking and do it the same stuff all over again. Honestly, the easiest thing and the fastest thing would be, in my opinion, would be to go ahead and highlight rows 3 through 6 and right click or press copy. And in this case, I'm going to do the shortcut. So Control C is copy. And then I'm going to click right here in number 7 and press Control V, which is paste. And then I'm going to put it here. 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 And now I liked when it was like blue, then white, then blue, then white, because it's just easier for me to see it that way. You totally don't have to do that way. I'm like a color-coded kind of person. So I'm probably going to go ahead and take these and change it to white and then skip one and change these and turn it to white. Again, this is not something you need to do. I think it just makes it a little easier to see when you're looking at it this way. So now I have a nice little chart. I'm going to take the last box and highlight all the way up to A1, just like we did with the rubric, and go to File and go to Print. And now I have a really cool daily check-in. And again, what I would like to do is make my margins narrow. And I would like to take my grid lines off. If I have the grid lines on, this is what it looks like. But I like to take them off so that it looks like one big row. Okay. And now I have a really nice self-reflection rubric. Perhaps you can even add a 7th row. It depends, how much room you have on your paper. But basically what you would do here is when the student is having a behavioral reaction, you might write Monday, March 3rd, and then they would fill this out for self-reflection and use the rubric as a reference to be able to write a specific thing right here, and then circle the strategy that they ended up using so that they can really see, first of all, they can see a pattern for maybe it's a certain time of day, maybe it's a certain subject, maybe it's a certain time, certain day of the week, maybe it's always Mondays, right? And then you will also see a pattern with the speeds and the categories. Like, I'm always feeling fast and hyper during math, or I'm always feeling fast and stressed during reading, right? And perhaps it's, okay, I felt fast and stressed, but I had no idea if it was because of a feeling. Like maybe it's a feeling like I'm always feeling really stressed, or I'm really feeling frustrated, or I'm really feeling nervous. And in that case, it's not necessarily a sensory issue, and we can kind of see the pattern of that. Or perhaps there is something environmental around me that I don't like. Like maybe it's every time the lights are really bright. Or perhaps it's every time it's really loud in the classroom, and we're noticing that because we're writing that specifically right here. Or perhaps it's a body signal that's happening inside my body. Like every time my heart starts to race, that's when I have this behavioral reaction, right? And so it really kind of helps us understand where the patterns are and whether it's a sensory issue or not, or something else. And then the second half of it is maybe we're going to see a pattern with what strategies seem to help me, okay? And which one did I choose? And I'm choosing it based on the feeling that's happening over here, okay? So then you would go ahead and press next and print. And that's all there is. And hopefully you'll be able to use it as a tool for the student to understand and be more self-aware, but also help them self-regulate better because they'll understand their issues or whatever the cause of the problem is at that time. And it's also a really great tool for the professionals that are, or parents that are working with the student, to be able to kind of understand and be able to empathize with what's going on and be able to help them self-regulate by choosing appropriate strategies. I hope that you enjoy this rubric, and I will see you around